GamingBolt presents 15 things you need to know before you buy Far Cry 5. Far Cry took the year off in 2017, just as Assassin's Creed had the year before that. But Ubisoft's massive open-world first-person shooter franchise is coming back. Far Cry 5 is almost upon us, and if the developer's claims are to be believed, then it's going to be a little different from its immediate predecessors. There's quite a lot of interesting stuff to talk about in Far Cry 5, and in this feature, we've picked out 15 such things. Without further ado, let's get right into it. No more minimap. One of the biggest changes Ubisoft is making with Far Cry 5 is the removal of the minimap. The minimap became a staple of the franchise after Far Cry 3, featuring in the 2012 games and all of the series sequels that followed. However, similar to Far Cry 2, Far Cry 5 won't feature a minimap. Ubisoft have made this change in order to encourage more seamless and natural exploration of the game world, rather than having players constantly looking at the map at the bottom of their screen to figure out where to go next. No more radio towers. Radio towers had almost become a meme over the last few years, but with them becoming such a popular mechanic that they were included not only in every Ubisoft game, but also in a number of other franchises. But just as Assassin's Creed Origins did last year, Far Cry 5 will no longer have towers for players to climb in order to unlock portions of the map. Similar to the exclusion of the minimap, this has been done to increase the natural rhythm of exploration. Melee. Far Cry 5 also places a renewed emphasis on melee combat, which is looking more brutal and satisfying than it has ever had in the series. There will apparently be a host of melee weapons for players to choose from the regular daggers and baseball bats to the more over-the-top pitchforks and sledgehammers. What's more, judging by the footage we've seen of the game till now, the animations for melee executions look absolutely brilliant. Vehicles. As you probably know, driving vehicles is a pretty important part of the Far Cry gameplay loop, and it's looking like this time Far Cry 5 is going even bigger in that area. Of course, you have all manner of ground vehicles in the game, from trucks and muscle cars to ATVs and even massive 18-wheelers, but the variety of vehicles in the game is going to go far beyond that. Players will also have the option to control various kinds of planes for full-blown dogfights, while taking control of boats will also be an option. Fishing. If you're tired of all the chaos and the bloody conflicts though, and just want to unwind and relax for a while, well, you can do that too. There's a fishing minigame in here, and we all love a good fishing minigame. Players can take out their fishing rods whenever they spot a body of water, or even take their boat out into the middle of a lake to catch several different kinds of fish in the game. Character creation. In what will be a first in the history of the franchise, Far Cry 5 will feature no default protagonist, instead giving players the ability to create and customize their own character. You will be able to choose everything from your appearance to your gender. While this is definitely in line with the game's increased focus on player agency and non-scripted moments, we're curious to see how this affects storytelling and the story in general. Map editor. After having been shelved for Far Cry Primal, Far Cry 5 sees the return of a feature that has been quite popular among fans of the series, the map editor, which lets you use the game's creation tools to create and share your own maps and battlegrounds with other players. While Ubisoft haven't released further details on this, they have confirmed that the map editor in Far Cry 5 will be more extensive than the ones in previous games. Map design. But what of the map itself, the region of Hope County, Montana, where Far Cry 5 takes place? Map design has always been one of the franchise's strong suits, so we're quite excited to see what Hope County has to offer. According to Ubisoft, the map of Far Cry 5 is going to be designed in such a way and offer so much freedom that no two players are going to have the same experience while playing the game. Emergent gameplay. As you may have put together from what we've talked about in this feature so far, Far Cry 5 is attempting to double down on the idea of player-made moments rather than scripted ones. Emergent gameplay in an open-world sandbox has become increasingly popular over the last few years, even more so after the recent successes of titles such as The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, Metal Gear Solid 5 The Phantom Pain, and even Ubisoft's very own Assassin's Creed Origins, so we're quite excited to see Far Cry taking a stab at it as well. Increased player agency. This, of course, goes hand in hand with the idea of structuring your game around the idea of emergent gameplay. but Far Cry 5 is going to have a lot more player agency than fans of the series may be used to. That's not to say Far Cry in the past has been overly reliant on scripted moments, but Far Cry 5 definitely looks like it will be a lot more reactive to the player actions. From the wildlife to any enemies you come across to even the civilian NPCs occupying the game's map, every aspect of the game promises to react appropriately and more naturally to what the player does or doesn't do in the game. Resistance points. Far Cry 5 is making an extra effort to integrate side quests and main quests into the game more seamlessly, and it's going to do that mainly through the mechanic of resistance points. Basically, different regions of Hope County are controlled by different leaders, who serve as the big bads of the game, though not the big bad. Completing activities, side quests, and story missions will all earn you resistance points, though some activities and quests, such as the main story missions, will obviously reward more points than others. And once you have enough resistance points, you'll finally draw the attention of the relevant leader and lure them out to meet you head on. Essentially, no matter what you do in the game, you'll always be building towards the end goal. Guns for hire. As part of the new Guns for Hire mechanic, players will also be able to meet and recruit several characters you meet throughout the game to aid you in the battlefield. These will range from story-specific characters to much less important NPCs you might find during aimless exploration. And each of these characters might even have their own unique skills and abilities. Each of these characters will have their own backstories and motivations, and you'll have to earn their loyalties to get them on your side. Fangs for hire. It's not just the residents of Hope County that you'll be able to recruit though. Similar to what we saw in Far Cry Primal, players will also have the ability to tame and recruit any animals they come across in the open world, from dogs and bears to cougars and rams. These animal buddies of yours will help you in all sorts of ways, such as picking up weapons for you, marking enemy positions, and much more. Additionally, while some animals will be better suited to taking on enemies head-on, others will be more adept at stealth. Co-op. Far Cry 5 will also feature full-fledged co-op, which will allow you to play the entire campaign, apart from the tutorial, with a friend online. There won't be any matchmaking here though, you can only play with people in your friends list. Both players will be able to share ammo and health packs, while interestingly enough, the second player who joins will retain all of their progression, including guns, money, perks, and everything else. And here's some even more exciting news. You can have the option to turn on friendly fire. Xbox One X and PS4 Pro enhanced. Most major games that are released these days, or even those that aren't that major, come with enhancements that take advantage of the added capabilities of the PS4 Pro and the Xbox One X. This will also be the case with Far Cry 5. What those enhancements will be is something that has not been revealed yet, but we're hoping that it'll actually be something substantial rather than just the customary upgrades to check boxes. And that'll be about it for this one. If you guys like what we're doing at GamingBolt, please consider subscribing to our channel, and I'll see you guys on the next video.